who acts as the spokesperson of those organizations, that criminal alliance, has made statements that things will blow over, that the good things are coming, that they are here. They have always speaking more than they can chew. And that has helped us so that we can act preemptively to their actions. For some time now, we receive information from the United States of people involved in these drug trafficking gangs of the violent Venezuelan opposition from the United States, that they wanted to create violence, and we said this in different occasions, in military installations, in police stations, installations of public services, the subway, power grid, oil institutions, places where people gather against figures both of the Bolivarian Revolution and the opposition, to create a communication impact that they need, because they are convinced that this will help them convince their own people. Naively thinking that if they put a bomb, we have spoken explicitly of explosives, that if we put a bomb on a police station, the police officers will support those that put the bomb in the first place. It's a way of thinking of people that are truly out of their mind. And in the last days, they talk about clandestine units, and that's there, calling for violence. This is what we have been denouncing, the drug trafficking gangs. The country must remember that a few days ago, 10 days ago, more or less, 2 weeks, these sectors of the opposition began to complain that supposedly some people of the opposition had been arbitrarily detained 10 days, 15 days ago. That someone from Popular Wills, or what they call Mente, that they had been detained in different parts of the country. It's the crybaby of those that call for violence and destabilization and war and terrorist actions, and they expect that the government will remain with their arms closed. Can you put the first slide, please? That one. I come back. I return to this because this is the beginning, but what I will explain now is the consolidation in real times, in real events, because we have managed to, remember, we're able to seize some electric devices in the tires of a vehicle that came from Colombia in Táchira. We were able to seize explosives in other operations, including C4 and TNT. And we come from here, from Zulia. Jose Enrique Rincón, who met with Maria Corina Machado in Colombia, Iván Simonovic, Juan Pablo Guaní. Some days ago, we received information. We began to do the intelligence work. We contacted a person. We infiltrated an agent in the operation, and we began to receive details of one of these activities, terrorist activities, that these drug trafficking gangs were going to commit against the people of Venezuela. And this could have created a true tragedy. And some might think, well, people will go scared. No, people like to hear the truth, or people want to hear the truth, because that way they pay more attention. In that event, a man recorded from above, and we went to his home, and he said, no, the captain said that we should all record. A man on wheelchair. The captain said to record everything. I don't have any issue, but I'm recording this action. So the recording came out because this has not come out to the public, but that video was published and we saw the angle of the recording and we went to the house. Oh, I was here because something weird was happening and I needed to have this to report because the captain said so. Always these operations are under the command of the United States government, of extremist sectors that are in the administration that currently governs the United States. We receive a message from, look, they're going to commit this action in this area. We deployed a security operation. We had like 4 days waiting for them, waiting in that area because we had received that information. Who was going to put it, because we had our inside man, how they were going to do it, when they were going to do it. That's what we were lacking. So it takes us to Sunday at around 11:32 a.m. local time. A person appears with the features that had been described to us, and we began the follow-up. That video of how he's arriving, we have it, right? Let's see it. No, how when he arrived. So we are seeing this character, see? See? With a backpack. And here we have the gentleman again, exiting with nothing, without the backpack. So all the mechanisms were activated. We look for his backpack where he had put it. We have that picture. Can we have the first pictures? Here. The bag was put here. This is the bag, the backpack. Inside the backpack, we move into action. First to detain, to follow that person, because we knew, as police sources say, he was going to take us to his accomplices. So we activated all the structures. So a team goes after him to follow him, and there the clothes he was wearing, the backpack he was carrying. This is because I know those people that want violence in the country are going to come out and say things, but here we have all the evidence, the backpack, his clothes, and we show the evidence of these criminal gangs to try to create destabilization in the country. This gentleman that was carrying this backpack, these are pictures taken from that video. He left the backpack there, and there you have it. A backpack that, unfortunately, is a backpack that is linked with our people. We have another picture with what was inside. So look, we call the team that is there. We call the anti-explosive team that has their protocols. They are amazing professionals. We follow this gentleman, Jose Daniel Garcia Ortega. We follow him. That's where the guy from above I'm going to record this because the captain said to record. A person in a wheelchair, he was leaning over and saw. And we went to look for him because these kind of things, they record it, and we're going to tell you who is doing it, because they have to provide evidence to be able to receive money, and they give money to the person that puts the device and the person that records it. So the anti-explosive team came, withdraws the material, and in this backpack, in this paper, there's a name, and there was also a name where he was detained finally, and this is what was inside. A device with 6, with a phone device. Why is it an analog system? Because it doesn't leave track. Another reason is the MP of this phone is greater than of a digital phone, because this is activated through a call, a message, and an alarm, and that electric pulse activates the detonators, and I've shown detonators here at our meetings. Here is the device, the explosives. Here already deactivated without harming anyone. You can check, you can review how much damage can 6 kilograms of TNT do when it explodes. It's very easy. You can Google right now to see what is the impact, how many people, how many innocent could have died, how many innocent could have died in the bus where that was being carried if that had been activated. Our men, with all the caution, the men and women of the anti-explosive team, because it had not exploded, they carried this. Imagine if it had exploded at that moment. Once this situation has been controlled, comes the investigation. So we follow. Can you give now the audio of Jose Daniel? I'm Jose Daniel Garcia. I come here to say what happened on Sunday on Plaza Venezuela. After 6 months of meeting La Negra, who introduced me a person called El Flaco that came from Colombia with one objective, to put a bomb in the new square. And I was contacted to see if I would work with him, and he offered me $20,000 to do the job. Having said this, days after, I received a call to retrieve the following materials at the metro station in Valle. I went there with La Negra, and we received the rest to buy the pending materials. Then he got in contact with me to wait for him to go to Caracas to put the bomb, and from there we will make a stop. After making this stop in Plaza Venezuela, we will continue to Bellas Artes, from where we will take the bus in direction from Petare to Plaza Venezuela that left us in the light, and from there went to the bridge, and he told me to go to the square and to put it behind the columns. So I went behind the columns and I put the bomb. I got on a bus that left me on a next metro station, and then I went to Loyada, where I got in contact with La Negra. I was in contact with El Flaco, and he told me to go back to the Loyada station. When Flaco arrived there, we continued, and then I went home. I told everything to my mother and decided to leave the country. He's giving his version of what he was going to do. He called his mother and told her. We in the operation, we detained a message. Put the message that I had said that was the first. The message on the phone, the last. A message that he sent is on his phone. One of the person that have been detained, that is named, well, one of the people that is already detained sent to a brother, but we found this message in the phone that somebody else had it. But it's very clear. I'm going there. My brother, it's not that I'm in something, I'm leaving due to security, but I was in a thing to explode a public figure of the government. There's hospitals, political figures, but I was not seen. But I left something where there is my fingerprints. Look, my man, I appreciate, but truly, speak plainly what is happening, because if it is an issue of money, or things are difficult, but it's because the government is persecuting you, I don't want to be involved in this. My brother, I'm not involved. I'm only leaving due to my safety. I think of speaking to you and greet you, and from there I'm going to my family. I have a ticket for 8, and the brother tells him, and the brother tells him, no, don't come here. Let's see now. Let's see who is who. This gentleman here, which is direct link with this, has been detained, belonging to a band in Zulia state. This gentleman that has already been detained has contact with someone known as El Titi that is detained in Colombia. That's why we once again call on Colombia to help us on this, to finish putting into evidence to those that want to create here in Venezuela terror. This man is also detained that belongs to the Guajira cartel. Don't put me on camera, put this. Also known as Titi. He is in contact with a person that is named Francisco Javier, also known as Chichito, who is also detained. He's in prison for drug trafficking, for extortion, for many other things here in Venezuela, even homicide. And he's in contact with this. And this gentleman received the instruction from this column that will pay up to $20,000 to whoever does this act. And they begin to move, and then he contacts someone else, which is here, that has not been detained yet. Look, this is the brother, Humberto Ramon. He's the brother of Francisco Javier. And here it says to be apprehended, but in the night today, he was captured, so it's no longer to be apprehended, he has been apprehended. Now that person that is identified completely knows that is completely besieged and knows this, that what's better for that person is to surrender. The best things that can do is come out and tell her side or his side, because everyone else involved are all blaming this person. And this citizen, which is the one that they refer to as La Negra, is the one that contacts Jose Daniel, who was also a boyfriend. Humberto was also a boyfriend of this person, of La Negra. And El Flaco was also her boyfriend at some point. She's currently pregnant. So I want to put everything in context so that you know and you see how they use drug trafficking, hire gangs to create acts of terror. So La Negra contacts this man, and this is the mother that you're seeing here. Tamara Edin Ortega is the mother of Jose Daniel Ortega. Daniel Garcia Ortega. In his home is where we found this clothes. It's the clothes that he used the day, the moment that he put the bomb. That clothes that you see there, the lady had it at home. And through that telephone, the blue telephone over there that they not use, and we have acknowledged the merit of our intelligence agencies, that phone was not being used since 2019. Since 2019, that phone was not used. And the colleagues went there. There were 4 contacts. Only one of those contacts was a new contact. Someone bought the number, but the other 3 were continue to be part of all this gang structure. So this gentleman here, we have this lady here, also known as Carola, because we are now working the financial structure. We will up until late working all the financial structure, how things are being paid, how they are paying this. Because we went, look, we have even the hardware store where they bought the different tools. Those tools were bought in a hardware store. So it's a work that have been weaving in detail. Now, this gentleman goes to San Cristobal. He has no idea. Can you put the video in Loyada where Flaco is, where he claims that he met with Flaco and La Negra? Loyada, no. There we are. That's El Flaco and La Negra. And they go. Those are the ones that are close to the corner over there. They are speaking. And then they are gonna go out. So these 2 are the characters. Play now. Leave it there. Who is El Flaco that he mentions? The one that makes the bomb. But that's where ego got the better of him. And that's an issue of many of these people that are psychopaths. And he begins to send videos to people of what he's doing, close people to what he's doing. His girlfriend, friends send videos, and we were behind all that. We have a video where when they deliver the TNT, he makes a test and sends this video. We have it. Let's see it. The test of the explosion. That one. A test that he sends to some people so that they can see that the dynamite is of good quality, because many of people that sell these materials are also scam. That was only one. Multiply that for 6 in a public space. Put it again, please. Make that calculation. That's only one that he tested. Multiply that by 6, which is what was inside the backpack in a public space. And you may say, but why was it put there? Well, there's a square that has a lot of gas. Well, had an exit of gas for the lamp that is there. If that exploded there, it would combine with gas, and the effect would not be multiplied by 6, but whatever you want. That's where the metro station is, the square, the passers-by, the cars, that they will be certainly impacted, and the service station in front. Imagine what would have happened if it had exploded. And I say again, thank you to the security agencies that made the follow-up in detail. So this gentleman goes to San Cristobal. He goes where he buys the ticket, and so do us as well. We capture the person that sells the ticket, the one that put him on the bus. And when he arrives in San Cristobal, they take a picture of proof of life to show that, the picture that you sent me earlier, to show that he arrived there. When he's there, they also take a picture of proof of life to show that he had put the backpack, because that's how he would get paid. This gentleman, also known as El Flaco, has a partner that is also known El Catire, which is the one taking the pictures of proof of life when they put the bomb in the square. These two persons know that we know where they are. So don't try to invent anything or improvise anything and just surrender, because all of these people down here have been captured and they are speaking, saying how the operation took place. So this gentleman here, El Flaco, goes to Sucre. One goes to Sucre, one goes to Táchira, to then go to Colombia, and then the other one goes to Sucre, and we know where he was going, to Trinidad. Tomorrow the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago will come out and say that it's a lie, but that's her issue. But he was preparing to leave to Trinidad. And we have been denouncing this for days now, all the links, but thanks to the that we have not allowed them to move how they want. So he's currently in a place that we know where. From there he there, the house of the lady Jasmine. That's where they send the message to Suriay Isabel, because that's like a girlfriend he had. And they supposedly that this lady will provide protection, because I know that God will help us so that nothing happened. Well, something very weird, but that's how they are. This gentleman here, Alberto Jose Gutierrez, is very close friend of this person that all these have been detained. All these that are down here are currently detained. We are only missing her and these two men. For now. Maybe at this moment they have already been detained. The Guajira cartel, Colombia, once more. This guy here, a drug trafficker that have been captured. We have the person that have provided the information that obviously we won't put him here. But that person, when, well, we have several detainees that denied to do it, but never say anything. They neither call or anything. They say no, but this person said, well, I won't get involved in this, and sought us to tell us what he was being contacted for. Now this that is here, drug trafficker that has contact with all these men here, Jose Enrique, returns again this lady, Maria Corina, that has called clandestine organizations, because now, yes, this is going to happen, but what's going to happen was those explosions. That's what they're calling for. They don't care the life of children. Imagine a Sunday at noon in a square. Imagine, let's close our eyes. Imagine all those people that would have been there at that hour. There are some that says in the questioning that he decided not to do it because he was told to do it in the subway, and that's why he decided not to. But he never said anything because now our metros, our subway have better security, and that's why they did not dare to do it there. They first said that it was to hit a heavy weight of the government, and they also were not able to reach that heavy weight of the government. Thanks God. So the script is being fulfilled, the script that we have been denouncing for a time. And we are with this, I will say it again, when the New York Times published this, is when they are going to believe it. When Wall Street Journal publish it, that's when they're going to say, oh, true, there's links with drug trafficking. They have links with criminal gangs. They don't believe in democracy. What they want is to take over so that they can surrender the government to the U.S. Everything that we have here are the transactions. This is really advanced. A team that is working in details, the links, the banks they use, how much they pay, how it was paid, when it was paid. Close your eyes. What is the worth of all of these devices in what they call the markets of the gangs? How much is it worth? What's the price? That guy was a self-centered that wanted to show people what he knows how to do. And this happens a lot. They want to put their mark so that they know that it was him. I want to tell our people that despite all their attempts, they can be certain that the national government works tirelessly, that the security agencies of the state and the Bolivarian National Armed Forces work tirelessly to guarantee peace, security of all Venezuelans all over Venezuela, and that these criminal alliances, the drug trafficking gangs, these legions, there are legions. These are the legions that this lady is speaking about, a legion of criminals, of drug traffickers and conspirators that do not believe at all in elections. And we talk a lot because we had this since Sunday. We talk a lot on how we were going to report on this, but in the end, the conclusion is that our people must be informed. They must know, because a people that knows to what they are exposed to helps us a lot, because they provide information when they see something suspicious. They give us information when someone is buying something that they should not. And this allows us to work better. We have the bikes on which they moved around. This lady, this is part of a band that have bikes and everything. And they contracted her because they don't care at all. These leaders, these heads of these gangs, they don't care if some of these people are detained, of these criminals that they use. Because the final objective is the conspiracy. Drug trafficking resources. They use criminal gangs. And once again, this comes from Colombia. They are planning this from Colombia. Once more, to attack our country. He says that this gentleman was in Colombia, that El Flaco was in Colombia, and he came to Venezuela to do this job. The Flaco contacted him in Colombia. This man that is also known as El Titi. Under the instruction of this person that we have here, that we won't say the name, and he's currently speaking and he's helping us. This is not the inside man, no. The thing is, we cannot say still the name of that person for now. If there's any question, I would appreciate it.
La primera pregunta la realiza la periodista Graya Casella por Venezolana de Televisión.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Good afternoon to all those present here, the authorities of the security agencies, and I would like to know until the date how many detained people are, and if this citizen, Jose Daniel Garcia, will provide more information regarding this case of Plaza Venezuela, and also to know if you are expecting any kind of reaction from the President of Colombia in the context of these conspiracies that have happened. And I also would like to know if the President Nicolás Maduro will call for an urgent meeting to address the issues of for peace and citizen security, to which the recently elected mayors will be part of. What is the call that you make regarding these situations that have come up that seek to create destabilization and commotion in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela? Until now, we don't have not 12 or 14, because we don't have here the brother of the person that they refer to as Chichito. His brother was detained. We have 13. 2 were already detained, Chichiti and the one from Colombia. So 15. 15 that are currently detained of this operation. 15 main actors. But we have a group of people. For example, they raided a place and they found materials that make us think that they are part of this group or part of this cell of violence, what they call clandestine units. They have said this publicly, that they're going to do this secretly because everything is going to happen. We have all those that participated in this part are detained. There is another group. We have found evidence that led us to believe that they have money. And where does this money come from? Drug trafficking. There's a great difference now with the government of Colombia to the government of Colombia at the time of Gedeon. When Gedeon happened, the government of Colombia paid for the encampments, for the training, recruited the paramilitaries. They signed contracts over there in the Colombian territory. The same conspiracy, since they could not get the president out the electoral way, so they go to violence. Today, with President Petro, beyond the declarations of some officials, one can say that Colombia has a very strong struggle against drug trafficking. The Colombian government is not. The Colombian government, President Petro, is not there. It's the territory. It's the Colombian territory that has areas that are controlled by violent groups. It's the country that produces the highest amount of drugs in the world. And in regards of the meeting that the president did, one of the calls are the issue of peace. One of the main, what we could defend strongly is peace, because it's a collective sentiment that people do not want violence, that people don't want any kind of act that creates insecurity. People want to enjoy, they want to live, they want to work. Look, this is the picture of the proof of life. No, you don't have it. So when the president makes this call to all sectors, why did they choose the state of Zulia to launch all this? Who ruled the state of Zulia? What did they do in Colombia when Escobar entered politics? What did they do? That's what they wanted to do here. When we entered the state of Zulia, that's when they began to say, no, that's not true. Well, it is true, because there are people that money for them is not enough. They want power, privilege, influence. Here, politicians of the Fourth Republic, they decided the ministers. The families were the ones that put the ministers. Those families got tired of that, and they will, no, now it's our turn. My grandfather or my father, I'm going to govern. And that's how the Machados, Lopez, Capriles, all that group, that's where they come from. That today they face the reality of a people that is aware, a people that rejects. Even the opposition people has to reject this. They have to condemn this, because a person that goes in their car, minding their business, on that street, what is that street? Casanova. They go there in their car, listening to music, and all of a sudden, boom, an explosion without any kind of ideology distinction. That's what they want, truly. Is that what this sector of opposition, of conspiracies, that's what they want? When they say that there are clandestine units, now when we went out 10 days ago, they began to cry. Well, these are the links. All these links, what they began to call nexus, the former commanditos, there are going to be signs. Clandestine units for what? Why clandestine? Why are you acting in secret? To create all this kind of, to create acts of violence that have a different end. The ones from the gangs that are getting paid, they are mercenaries. The drug trafficker is paying because afterwards that he's being guaranteed that he's going to have a free passage for his drugs. Those are the agreements they have, and this is hurting them. What has happened in their pride, in their pockets, and in their plans. Now we are in another operation. This kind as well. A special group that we have there are in an anti-drug operation right now. We do not rest. But we do not rest in peace, because this is what we like. This is what we love. These of his colleagues here are professionals, and we call on them at 2 a.m. and at 2 a.m. they answer. At what time did I send the message yesterday? At 2 a.m. and they all answer. They even hurry because they joke about the one that came in last. So the opposition calls on us on this, because the issue of security is not only of the national government. It's an issue of all the authorities. There in that meeting yesterday, more than one opposition mayor came to me and said, I want to work with you. I want that municipality has safety. When the president said today, go to 23, to 23, to Efe, to San Agustin, to Petare, it's because spaces of peace have been consolidated, and no one wants in their good judgment that a mother or a father is at home worried about her children that have not arrived home at 9 p.m. That concern, no one wants it, and we don't want it either for no one. That's why we work tirelessly. The president has been very clear, and we said it, this is the year, the crucial year against gangs. And when we refer to gangs, we refer to drug trafficking gangs, criminal gangs, conspiracy gangs, and terrorist gangs.
La segunda pregunta la realiza por el diario Últimas Noticias, Eligio Rojas.
Saludos, ministro, saludos a todos.
Great ministers, greetings to all.
Como quiera que el narcotráfico está involucrado en todo esto,
Drug trafficking is involved in all these operations, according to the information you're presenting.
en el mes de julio, de acuerdo a
On July, according to our figures,
en el estado Falcón,
in the state of Falcón,
4 toneladas.
over 6 tons of drugs were seized.
Pregunta es,
My question
ese
is,
esquema que utilizaron
that scheme that they use in Zulia,
cifra similar por
that is a similar figure that was seized in Zulia
operación relámpago del
as part of the lighting operation,
al estado Falcón,
was taken to the Falcon state with all the implications,
autoridades
meaning
implicadas,
authorities involved or allegedly involved,
alcaldes,
mayors,
sociales.
police officials.
Ya,
I would like to know
eso es lo que está ocurriendo.
if this is what is happening.
Y respecto a lo que usted
And in regards to what you showed
este frustrado
of
plan,
this
de Plaza Venezuela, ¿quién es el jefe de
plan
operación?
to attack
¿Quién
the
estaba al
square
frente
Plaza
de-
Venezuela, who was in front of the who was at the head of the operation, who was the leader of this operation,
allí en el ampograma? ¿Y a quién
and
reportaban esas personas
to whom do
que
these
se
people
rajaban como
reported,
usted? ¿A quiénes le
to whom
reportaban
those people
que
that
no
decided
iban
not to
a
do the action, to whom
participar
they
en esa
reported
operación? Muchas
that they were not going to act in that operation. I can play a video of one of the people that decided not to do the action. My number is Oscar. I've known La Negra for 2 years. I met Ario for over a year. I rent for him a bike and a place for him to work. Like 3.5 weeks ago, La Negra called me to do a trip because he was going to receive someone that was coming outside the country. So I rented the piece, and then sometimes later I began to meet with El Flaco in the house of La Negra. I met him like 3-4 times. On Monday, Tuesday last week, they called me to the house of La Negra where Daniel and El Flaco was there as well, where they proposed me to drive to Plaza Venezuela, that they were going to put explosives there, and that was going to be seen as a taxi fare that was not going to be involved in any way. After then, I stayed there for like 10-15 more minutes, and I left to work. The week went by, and again I had some other taxi fares to the house of La Negra and her mother's. Like 2 days before, I took my distance and I didn't want to answer any more phone calls because I didn't want to be involved in that issue. I didn't want to be part of that. The last time I saw Daniel was on Saturday over 8 p.m. that I took him to the house of La Negra. After that, I didn't know anything more. There's another. The girl, the one. Yes, that one.
Buenas noches, me llamo
Good
Susana Vázquez, 20 años
afternoon.
de edad, cédula 30.257.891. Estoy aquí por un video que me
I'm here for a video
se encontraron
that I
ustedes
was
porque
sent
él estaba preparando una bomba que iba a poner
that
en
he
los metros de Caracas.
that he was where he was preparing some bombs that he was going to put in the metro of Caracas that was going to be made before the march, and that could not happen. And then on Monday he called me again that he had the detonation had not exploded because my mother had prayed for him. The subways. And well, all the follow-up, we have the whole map. I'm showing here what we can show, and I'm saying what we can say. In regards to the drug trafficking routes, do we have a Venezuela map there that we can put? So you see the difference and how we are working in this stage against drug trafficking. Don't change this picture until you find the map. Who was the head? Who was the leader? The head is this one. She's the boss. A subordinate of this over here. The operation chief was this person, who is contracted by this man, who are Rincons and all these people that work for her. And the rest comes Flaco, who made the explosives, and all these people that are here. This is what they are referring to as the clandestine units. But without a doubt, if anyone has a doubt, it's because they're seeing another movie. Here we have, look, the Venezuelan state, the Venezuelan people, has right now the popular military civic police union. They have found ways to share that fusion with this criminal alliance of drug trafficking, of conspirators and criminal gangs. Let's see who is stronger. They say they're declaring war. No, war has been declared by her. Look for the final statements, because we were discussing and I was saying, no, look what she said. But you know, one has to have patience at times to listen to those stupidities, and we had to listen and see it. They say what they were going to do, what they wanted to do, what they planned to do against this country. So here we are. Leave it there. Zulia, they use this route. They came through here. How did they do it? Well, through local powers that granted the gas, that granted the fuel and safety. And there's a lot of people detained. You have no idea. Officials of all levels that in their complicity they were paid and they turned a blind eye. All of those people have been detained. With these hits here in this sector, well, we are losing a lot. So they retake the other exit. They retake exit from the Colombian side. And on the GPS of the drug trafficking submarine, their exit is from Colombia in what they call the drug trafficking route of has always been used. And they go to two areas of supply of fuel along the route. In that last case that you mentioned, they go here and they go very close here, the coast, and they follow the same exact route that Herion used. It's exactly the same route that Herion used, the drug trafficking route. We raided two centers, two facilities of fuel supply, one in Falcón and another one in Sucre. We don't rest, and we're going to continue working. It's completely different because now here they have control. Here they had control that guaranteed fuel, and that came to an end. Besides that, all these areas are being highly patrolled by the Bolivarian National Guard. The Coast Guard are patrolling all that area, and we send new troops, we send new officials, we change in TeleSUR the whole structure. The whole structure. No one was left, and there's a lot of people detained amidst all this investigation that we have been doing. There can be no links, even of turning a blind eye, of playing the fool in the face of a situation that puts at risk all Venezuelans. That's the old route of drug trafficking. Because it's difficult. One day by land, do a test. Go from here to San Cristobal by land to see how many stops you find. I said yesterday, I think it was, there are like 100 more that are missing from here to somewhere else. Because that works. The one that doesn't have any depths have no fear. But if someone comes to commit a crime, in one of those stops is going to be captured. Oh, the leaders, that's very clear. We have gone over 50,000 ways to see if there's another possibility, but it's not. It is like this. And I say again, when it is the New York Times that published this, that's when the world is going to believe it. And then they're going to say, hey, it was true. Uribe is a drug trafficker. Oh. Comes together. The coup that was given, that's a hard blow. He was not judged for what he was supposed to, but well, something is something.
La tercera pregunta la realiza Jessica Sosa por Rusia Today.
Buenas tardes, ministro, y a todas las autoridades.
Good afternoon, Minister, and all the authorities. I'm curious that as these plans were taking place, that as you were pointing out, have their roots in the U.S., from that country precisely comes the narrative of cartels are being revived, and they point to the President of the Republic. Do they have any kind of relation, those plans? What's your opinion on this issue? And also, if these $20,000 that were going to be paid, that the person that was going to execute those was paid, and where's the lead of that money? Where did it come from? Well, look, financing, that's the issue that we have right now. Everything is paid in selling through their phone. That's where it goes. So it's a work that has to be done. Today we capture a lady involved in this that paid the main supplier of this girl here was captured. The of La Negra was captured. Where was she? Antimana. She has already been captured here in Caracas. In regards to the cartel, is an invention of them. It's their invention. I don't know how many years that cartel that they invented has now. And those times has had like 300 leaders. Anytime that someone bothers them, becomes the head of that cartel. What is true is that where the greatest cartel operates in the world is in the United States. The DEA. It has no contest. But the Soles cartel is a lie. It's a fabricated lie of them. It's a great lie to manipulate, to make people believe, and to say. If not, how can you explain that someone that is a traitor, all of a sudden they have no suspicion of their being part of cartel of Los Soles? They are pardoned, the same that before said that they were part of that cartel. When they capture 100 kilograms of cocaine. That's a big party. Imagine here that we capture 32,000 kilograms. I would say no. I would like to say I was not there. Well, since we broke relations with the DEA in Venezuela, we freed ourselves of that job. The DEA officials here, they provided controlled deliveries, that it was the way of them to allow great shipments to pass, and we're going to be taking, so they were going to allow some to go through and then they would take someone else. We have a war against drug trafficking, and it's a war that we're going to win. The president of Ecuador opened the doors of his country to drug trafficking. Check the numbers that are not ours. How much drug produced in Colombia go through the Caribbean? Check for the numbers, not our numbers. Numbers of the DA itself. For general knowledge, how much goes through Eastern Caribbean and how much goes through Western Caribbean? How much belongs to the sector that belongs to the Caribbean sector that belongs to Venezuela, and how much goes through the sector that belongs to Colombia? And compare numbers. You are going to be surprised so that you see the campaign that exists against this country. Now, who is using this drug trafficking ban? The Venezuelan opposition. They have no vote to live, and so they live with the money of the drugs. Because the policy is like this: if you don't have the support of the people, you have no organization, you die. But they want to substitute the popular organization, the popular support, by the support of criminals. That's what they call those criminal alliances, criminal legions, that they announce, like if they were talking about the Crusades. They speak too much. And anyone that is involved is going to be detained. The final question. You have already provided figures on how many people have been detained in all these terrorist operations. Could you provide their nationalities? And in terms of the Venezuelan detained, if they belong to opposition political parties. Well, wait. Someone asked about the detainees in the issue of Falcon. Well, yeah, there are detainees there. There are Colombians. There are some former police officials that have been detained as part of the latest detentions. And today, right now, we are currently deployed, and I won't say where. Here in this operation, there are 13 people detained. We have a Colombian that is detained in Colombia, known as El Titi. In this structure, we have their movements and their declarations. We know them, and they go to Colombia very often. Jasmine, for example, this one here, they go to Colombia constantly. This one here goes to Colombia. He said it himself. El Flaco had just arrived from Colombia. People that travel constantly to Colombia, but are Venezuelans. In terms of relations with political parties, here it is. 10 days ago, I say again, we detained and some people, and they came out to say that poor of them, they are being persecuted, they are fascists going into these places. But they are the criminals, they are the ones that are involved in these criminal gangs and contact the gangs. and we are going to show that they are also the ones that pay. I'm telling you that we're gonna get to the bottom, and we're gonna unravel the whole financing scheme, and we're gonna get to those in charge of paying. In that list, we had of criminals that have already been proven, politicians that have been involved with gangs, over 70. Some do the work from abroad. We detain like 20 something, 24, and they are detained. And we will not stop because they come and they speak and they believe that we're going to be afraid due to that. No, we won't buy blackmails from anyone. We are decided and committed to free Venezuela of all gangs. The president's order is clear and precise. People, when they see in Caracas, the first day, people complain about patrols. Now they don't do this. Now they just talk with the police. They even give them coffee. These people could be at home. No, they are on the streets fulfilling with a duty. But the Venezuelan people is more calm, is more peaceful. Well, here in Venezuela, how many dead every 100,000? We don't get to 2. You know how many in Ecuador? 64. 64 out of 100,000 are killed. Today, we have expressed this as a source of concern due to human values, that the number of suicides per day is higher than the number of people killed. Way higher. There are days that we go without any assassination in Venezuela. And that has to do with the work that these people do. With our armed forces, we work very closely. When the struggle begins, all the organizations, all the security agencies come out and work together, which did not happen before, all in the interest of peace of this country. We have a clear mission. These colleagues, they love their job. We feel with the moral obligation guaranteeing the safety of all Venezuelans, and we do it gladly. These criminal groups, they won't triumph here. They won't do it. And I hope sooner than later to read on the New York Times headlines about these criminal gangs in Venezuela, these drug traffickers, conspirators, and criminal gangs united in a great criminal alliance against a country. Here they will meet the military police civic union. Thank you very much. 1.86 per 100,000 inhabitants. You can ask. In the polls, this is a topic that has been being left behind. Is that security is not only for the Bolivarians, for Chavistas, it's for all Venezuelans. It's for all the Venezuelans. That's why I say that opposition sectors that truly love this country must condemn these acts of violence. That guy went there to put a bomb to blow up an objective, and if that had exploded in the bus where he was traveling, how many people would have died? No one would have been saved. Or in the March for Jesus. And the message is, of course, to all Venezuelans of trust. Trust. We are going to do what we are supposed to do, and we will guarantee the peace of all Venezuelans. When we dismantle these groups, one feels that the people can sleep safely. A kid riding a bike on the square. And of course, since those one of the squares that is very popular now because there's a lot of people that are going right now there because it's recently renovated, and where there's a police station, a metro station, where there's a service gas station. Well, but it backfired, fortunately for Venezuelans. Good afternoon. Thank you very much.
Las declaraciones del vicepresidente sectorial de Política, Seguridad Ciudadana y Paz, capitán Diosdado Cabello, Rodón, denunciando.
We were listening to the Minister of the Interior, Justice and Peace of Venezuela, Diosdado Cabello, as he was giving details into the investigation on terrorist actions that have been thwarted and that Venezuelan authorities denounce are being commanded by extremist groups in the U.S. He shared part of the evidence that has been gathered during this criminal investigation into these destabilizing acts as the government vows to put an end to any violent actions, especially those that are being directed from abroad. More on this and other topics in upcoming news briefs. Stay tuned with TeleSUR English.